Hello, everyone. It's me, Jack Nicholson. I'm here on the set of The Departed and ready to do another poetry review. So, this one comes to us from an author named Aoife-Maire, and this is a piece called Tired. Not much of a prelude here, other than for potential content warnings, the author said, terror maybe. So be advised that there may be terror in this poem. Before we get into it, I'll read my little spiel that I always do. Keep in mind, I am not a professional reviewer. I'm just some guy on the internet who likes reading and writing. The opinions expressed in this video are only opinions. My interpretation of or reaction to the work will not be the same as everyone else's, for better or for worse. I will look for the good and the bad, but no matter what I say, don't be too hard on yourself. Just keep writing. And for those in the comments, please be respectful. Also, I'm so sorry for any mistakes or mispronunciations of names or words. If I come across a word that I don't want to say for whatever reason, I will replace it with the word blank. So with that, I think we can go ahead and get into it. So once again, this is Tired by Aoife-Maire. Oh, excuse me, Aoife-Maire W. I'm tired, hardwired. Tired, tied to software. There, I said it. My grief is griefing me. Bet you didn't get that. Is it just me referencing the hours I spend scrolling, doling out each time? Loading, loading, overloading, overknowing, ever-knowing internet chained me, yes. Or did I chain myself? Well, I'll never know. I'm too busy with my headphones in, as if that can block the voices in my head. I'm under the sheets, lying in bed. Yet I'm not warm. Freeze me already, frozen to my screen. I see a light, a blue light. Save me. I'm dying. Fix me. I'm broken. In a way life hacks can't fix. I can't even sort this content without contentment. Commitment to quit. Where are you? To drag me away. I need a hobby. My hobby is art. Art means iPad. My hobby is poems. Poems mean docs. Maybe chalk it up to my whirlwind brain again. I need another shot of anything but TikTok. TikTok, bye-bye clock. It passes time. I'm passing by. Please, someone, help me. I'm tired. Okay, so I guess before we get into any content or analysis, I'll say that this is probably meant to be a spoken word poem. At least that's sort of the vibe I get, what with all of the kind of fast-paced rhymes, I guess you might say. You get a lot of rhymes in a pretty condensed space, and usually that works well with spoken word poetry. Um, we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through it. Um, One thing I wanted to point out was, and again, this doesn't actually matter all that much if this is a spoken word poem, but there was just an incorrect use of the word to, or rather, a wrong form of the word. Uh, we'll go through it line by line, and when I come across it again, I'll point it out. Not a big deal, but again, especially like I said, if this is supposed to be spoken word. And another thing, I guess I had a hard time understanding kind of where the breaks were meant to be since there's not any periods. At least I don't think there's a period. Oh, okay, there's at least one, and then one more at the end. Uh, yeah. So yeah, as I was reading it just for myself, I had a hard time knowing exactly when I was supposed to pause or when we were starting a new phrase for sure. Because there's a lot of enjambment too, and that can be great, but it also kind of, I don't know, kept me from knowing for sure when each phrase was going to end. So if this is meant to be a spoken word poem, like I said, that might not really matter because it's really meant to be heard rather than read. But if you would rather have this, I don't know, be published on paper, maybe some stanza breaks could also be helpful for you. But anyhow, let's take it bit by bit. I'm tired, hardwired, tired, tied to software. There, I said it. My grief is griefing me. Bet you didn't get that. Um, I think that's where that section sort of ends. I don't have too much to say about it. I think tired and hardwired are fine rhymes. Um, Software in there, yeah, that works too, I think. Yeah, and let's see. There, I said it. My grief is griefing me. Bet you didn't get that. I think "said" and "get" are also supposed to be at least a soft rhyme, and I think that works okay. Um, I think I've said this before on this channel, but, like, poems kind of like this where the rhymes just, like, really come at you one at another. It's not totally my thing, just personally. I've heard it work a lot of times, but not all the time, and, like, really that's just subjective, so I just want the viewers to be aware of that. I want you to be aware of that because, like, I am sort of coming from a place of bias, right? Because this isn't usually my cup of tea, even though I have heard it work, multiple times before. I guess I'm more predisposed to, I don't know, think about this sort of work more harshly. But again, that just comes from a place of bias. It's not really super logical on my part. It really is just a matter of personal preference. So these are all fine rhymes, I think, on paper. Even if I don't personally love how like close they are in proximity. Otherwise, I don't have too much to say about this section. I guess it's sort of what's the word I'm looking for? I guess it's like a fine introduction into the big ideas that we're about to explore, like tied to software, because a lot of this poem has to do with reliance on technology or even like addiction to technology, right? So yeah, it's a fine like intro section. Although now that I think about it, like the poem is titled Tired, or at least that's what the document was titled, and it opens with "I'm tired" and it closes with "I'm tired," but, like, I don't know, is that actually what the poem is about? Let's consider that as we keep going. Is it just me referencing the hours I spend scrolling, doling out each time? Okay, there's a period, which is helpful. Um, I guess I do wonder kind of right off the bat what the "it" is referring to. Um I guess maybe the phrase means like, "Is it just me who's doing this, or are y'all doing it too?" I think that's how I'm supposed to interpret that, but I was a little thrown by that phrase at first, in part, again, because of the enjambment. But let's take it as, is this just me? Is it just me referencing the hours I spend scrolling, doling out each time? Um, don't really understand what doling out means in this context either. It kind of feels like it's just there to be a rhyme for the word scrolling, right? Is it just me referencing the hours I spend scrolling, doling out each time? Yeah, like what is the speaker doling out? I don't understand. Maybe again that's a personal failing, right? It could be that, the meaning there is actually very clear, but to me, it's just not clicking. Next section. Loading, loading, overloading, over-knowing, ever-knowing internet chained me, yes. Or did I chain myself? Well, I'll never know. Oh, here's the version of 2 that should be TOO, but whatever. I'll never know. I'm too busy with my headphones in, as if that can block the voices in my head. We'll take that as its own section. So loading, loading, overloading, overknowing. I like overknowing followed by ever knowing. That's interesting. I think that has a nice sound to it personally. Overknowing, ever knowing internet chained me. Yes. Or did I chain myself? I guess I wonder like how much weight the word yes is carrying on that line and in this section more broadly. Um, especially since it's followed with, kind of a contradiction almost. Um, but at the same time, I do like the question where it's like, did the internet hook us or did we allow ourselves to be hooked on it? And, I think that's like a fair question. At the same time, I do think, or what am I trying to say? I don't know. This honestly might not even have very much to do with the poem at this point, but, like, I don't think we can blame ourselves too hard for falling into traps uh, that people on the internet place for us, or rather that developers place for us, right? Like, Like social media, it's designed to be addictive, right? Or mobile games, again, designed to be addictive, right? So so maybe there is like some measure of personal blame, but at the same time, like these silicon folks who create all this stuff, they know what they're doing and they don't stop because it's harmful to their bottom line, right? And I think we will see that explored more in the poem. And like I said, I do kind of like the question of it. Again, my only issue is the word yes. I feel like it doesn't need to be there personally. Anyhow, or did I chain myself? Well, I'll never know. I'm too busy with my headphones in, as if that can block the voices in my head. Upon first reading, I actually kind of thought that that idea would be like a good poem unto itself. This idea of like the sounds coming through your headphones versus the, yeah, just, I don't know, your own voice in your head, or if, I don't know, if the speaker in the poem is like schizophrenic, then it could be, you know, other voices that they hear. So yeah, I like that in concept, and you could either build on it further in this poem because I do think it merits building on personally, or you can make it its own poem because, like I said, it merits building on. So let's go to the next section. I'm under the sheets, lying in bed, yet I'm not warm. Freeze me already, frozen to my screen. I see a light, a blue light. Save me, I'm dying. Fix me, I'm broken. In a way, life hacks can't fix. I can't even sort this. Okay, I got tripped up the first time reading this. Here, let's break off the previous section real quick, and then we'll move into that. So, I'm under my sheets lying in bed, yet I'm not warm. Freeze me already. Frozen to my screen. I see a blue light. Sorry, I see a light, a blue light. Um, I I don't know. I almost wish this section would go deeper, personally. Um, it's like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I do like the use of the word like freeze and frozen, um, because technology can freeze, right? So that's, I don't know, kind of like a pun, I guess. Um, but again, I almost wish there was more exploration there. I see a light, a blue light. Yeah, so like the blue light of a phone, right? Sure. Save me, I'm dying. Fix me, I'm broken. In a way life hacks can't fix. I think that's like a clever enough line, that last one of this section that we've highlighted, in a way life hacks can't fix. There's like a humor to that, I think. And then I do also like the idea of like we often do turn to our phones when we need a pick me up, right? And that's counterintuitive because usually more time on our phone just kind of makes us feel worse, right? Not to sound like a boomer, but I think you know what I mean, right? So I think it's just these 4 lines for which I might want a little more, or I don't know, experiment with it a little bit. Like, what if you went deeper with some of these chosen visuals, some of these chosen symbols, like the words freeze and frozen? What if you went deeper with that idea? And the whole blue light, again, that's something you can potentially go deeper with, right? And so I'm just encouraging experimentation. Write a longer version of this section and see if anything else falls into place, see if anything else clicks. And if not, then, well, that's okay. You can just go back to this, right? Really, you don't lose anything except more practice. Or, sorry, what I'm trying to say is if you write a longer version of this and it turns out worse, then it's still valuable as an exercise, right? And if it doesn't turn out to be any better, then you still have this. So you lose nothing, right? There's really no risk. It's no risk, all reward, because either you end up with a better section or you get better at writing in some other way, right? So yeah, that would be my suggestion for this piece because there are interesting portions here, and I think it would be interesting to explore them even further. So we'll cap off that section there. I can't even sort this content without contentment, commitment to quit. Where are you to drag me away? We'll take that as its own section really quick. So this is another thing where it's like, if this is spoken word, then this doesn't matter. But I remember I got tripped up reading this part the first time around because I wasn't sure whether these were pronounced content or content, right? And looking at it now, I'm guessing you pronounce the first one as content and then the second one as content. And I do think there's something to be said about the fact that those two words are spelled the same but pronounced different, right? That would be an easy thing to play with in a poem. And so the mere act of putting them side by side, I don't know that that's really doing it. I think you gotta, again, build on that a little further. I think that's something worth exploring even more, if I'm being honest. Um, but like I said, there is something to be said about that, and so it's a good observation, but just give me more. Tell me more about that observation. Um, but anyhow, taking the second half of this little highlighted section. Commitment to quit. Where are you to drag me away? Um, See, I feel like commitment to quit would mean like a commitment to quit screen time, right? Like that to me would be the context that we're talking about here. But then I feel like that line doesn't even really go anywhere. And then the speaker asks, "Where are you to drag me away?" Like maybe the confusion stems from the fact that I don't know who you is. Because again, in this context, initially, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe you is the phone and the speaker wants, technology to drag them away, distract them, or what have you. But then that would make this commitment to quit line sound out of place. But maybe the you is someone else, right? And it's like there's this commitment to quit, but you need the you to drag me away from the technology, right? So that's probably the correct reading, but I always have a hard time when people throw out, pronouns that don't refer to anything specifically. It's like I think this is the only use of the word you in the poem. Let's control F real quick. Yeah. So I don't know. It's like it's a surprise and it's like a twist that's not built up to, right? Um, there's not enough context here for me to, I don't know, really kind of make something of this. Like, I guess I can make something of it, but probably not what you, the author, are intending. I think this could be powerful, probably, but yeah, I'm just left more confused because I feel like there's not quite enough to latch on to, whether because this section itself needs more expansion or because there needs to be more build up to this piece of the poem. I hope that makes sense. Let's move on to these next lines. I need a hobby. My hobby is art. Art means iPad. My hobby is poems. Poems mean docs. We'll just take that section really quick. So first of all, relatable, very relatable struggle, right? It's especially, I don't know, especially nowadays where back in the day you could be a writer and no technology involved, right? It was just pen and paper. Or, if you liked to read, then physical book, right? But nowadays, a lot of screens are involved in a lot of different hobbies. And like I said, it's just relatable, right? Like these days, I don't really write with pencil and paper at all. And on the one hand, I don't know, studies seem to show that it's better for you to write with a pen and paper, or at least to write by hand rather than writing by keyboard. But at the same time, like the keyboard has so much efficiency to it, and so it's hard to give that up, right? So yeah, this is a relatable piece of this poem. Um, I don't know if I have more to say than that. Like, obviously, it's doing, I think, what it sets out to do. Is it maybe too didactic? Potentially. Or again, maybe it's just something in need of more expansion, right? But I can't say for sure. Like I said, I think it is accomplishing what it sets out to do. So in that sense, it's probably fine, right? But again, could be another exercise. Maybe chalk it up to my whirlwind brain again. I need another shot of anything but TikTok. TikTok, bye bye clock. It passes time. I'm passing by. Please, someone, help me. I'm tired. Okay. So maybe chalk it up to my whirlwind brain again. See, this is again, like, the enjambment is throwing me off here because is the word again supposed to be part of these 2 lines? Is it supposed to be part of that phrase? Or is it the start of this next phrase, right? I'm not sure. So, if this is supposed to be, like, a written poem, then again, that's another area where more punctuation or some stanza breaks could help, but anyway. Um, what I the sense I get when I read those lines is like maybe the speaker has ADHD or something, right? And they call it their whirlwind brain. Um, or maybe otherwise they're just easily distracted. And I mean, aren't we all a little bit easily distracted by like phones these days? I think so. Yeah. Um, but I don't know. I feel like those lines maybe chalk it up to my whirlwind brain. I feel like that reveals something about the speaker, and that's valuable. Not necessarily the author, right, but the speaker. I need another shot of anything but TikTok. TikTok, bye bye clock. Not my favorite rhyme. It just feels, I guess, kind of obvious in a way. Um, yeah, but I get it. You know, I gotta get off Instagram and Reddit, so I feel you. Um, Initially, when I read "It passes time," I wasn't sure what the "it" referred to, but I guess it's probably supposed to be referring to the clock, right? The clock passes time, literally. And then "I'm passing by, please someone help me, I'm tired." So again, we get "I'm tired," which is how the poem started, so kinda a sandwich in that sense, but again, I posit the question, is this poem really about being tired? Not really, like, I think it could be about being tired, but I think the author kind of needs to make that bridge a little sturdier, the bridge between technology addiction and being tired, right? And I think there is a really interesting poem to be had about that topic. But as it stands right now, I get all of the pieces about technology. And you could say, like, okay, well, implicitly, then you understand that using too much technology makes you tired. And it's like, yeah, I do. But like, because I know that, I don't need to be told it. I need to be shown it, right? So I don't know. I guess maybe that's ultimately kind of the big thing that's making me say, "Hey, this poem needs more expansion in these sections," is I feel like there is a lot of telling going on here and not quite as much showing. So, like, consider this. What are some interesting metaphors that you could create that demonstrate how technology makes you so tired or how technological addiction makes you so tired? Or it doesn't even have to be a metaphor, right? What are the unique sensations that you experience that creates tiredness when you use technology too much, right? Really dig into those feelings, use some imagery, get deep, get weird, get creative, right? Because yeah, a lot of this poem just kind of feels, I don't know, it feels familiar, which on the one hand is good, but maybe like too familiar, right? It feels like I'm just kind of being told something that I tell myself enough, right? Um, those of you in the comments, you can disagree with me on this for sure, and please tell me if you do. Ultimately, I think what stands out about the poem, this poem, is its rhyme, right? And its chosen structure. And like I said, maybe it's supposed to be spoken word, and even if not, I think it's still great that the author, strived, yeah, strived to rhyme. I think that's truly awesome, for real, for real. I would say if that's what you wanna do, go even harder on it, right? Try to think up even more rhymes and, try to get even, like, stronger and funkier with maybe the rhythm too. So, yeah, those are some overall suggestions, like, think of some ways to do more showing and less telling, and then really lean into the rhythm and rhyme if that's something that you really want from this poem. I hope those are helpful pieces of advice, and I hope sort of the line by line reading, of course, was helpful too. There is something here for sure. This is so worth going forward with, for real. So keep going forward with it. Yeah, I hope you do, and I hope it turns out so great and better than you even ever could have expected. So I think we'll leave it there. I think I've said all that I can think to say about this piece, but one more time, let's give it up for our author here. Hang on, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. Aoife-Maire W. Aoife-Maire, thank you so much for submitting this, for real. That was very brave of you, and it's really awesome that you wrote this in the first place, and so I hope that you continue writing. If not working on this piece, then just in general, I hope you keep writing. So we'll leave it there. Thank you again. Thanks for submitting. Thank all of you for watching, and ultimately keep in mind this is a rough draft.